My presentation is about a photograph taken by Henri Cartier-Bresson, and it's called "A Young Belgian Woman is Denounced as a Gestapo Informer." The picture was taken right after World War II. Henri Cartier-Bresson was born on August 22nd in 1908 and died in 2004 and was French. He was born into a very wealthy family, and he did not have to earn money to make a living. This meant that he was free to explore the potential of the Leica camera. The Leica camera, created in Germany in 1925, was an innovation for photojournalism. Cartier-Bresson is called the master of the Leica 35mm camera. The Leica camera uses a 35mm movie film that allowed photographers to shoot numerous photos in succession without having to reload sheets of film. Photographers could go anywhere and take photos without attracting attention and become a part of the situation. Henri Cartier-Bresson was a French humanist photographer and pioneered in the genre of street photography as well. Humanist photographers can be distinguished from photojournalism, as it focuses more on everyday human experiences and social trends. Street photography is a depiction of real life infused with an awareness of visual aesthetics. Cartier-Bresson viewed photography as capturing a decisive moment. The decisive moment is the moment at which all elements come into harmony to tell a strong story. When everything is in the right place, this does not always mean at the height of the action, the story is complete. The photograph shows a Gestapo informer who pretended to be a refugee in a camp for displaced people. This woman is looking down. She has been discovered and exposed by a camp inmate who is standing to her left, and a judge. And you also see the judge, or the man taking notes, who is sitting behind a table at the Gestapo informer and the camp inmate. The Gestapo informer and the camp inmate who recognizes her are standing and are surrounded by misplaced, wronged, abused, and traumatized victims of war. The identities of the women are unknown, but the man taking notes is a Dutchman named Willem van der Velde, who recently had been liberated from a concentration camp in the Netherlands as well. And the Americans made him the camp commander. Cartier-Bresson took this photograph at a camp of displaced people in Dessau right after World War II ended. During the war, Adolf Hitler wanted to create what he thought was the best and strongest race. And to the Nazi Party, this excluded certain groups, such as Jews, Gypsies, and those with physical and mental disabilities. These people were persecuted and sent to concentration camps, where millions and millions died. The organization in charge of these persecutions was the Gestapo, Nazi Germany's secret police form. The Gestapo had two main tasks. The first was to hunt out people who were not good enough in the eyes of the Nazis, while the second was to tackle the threat of resistant movements. It's been estimated that only 50% of Gestapo cases started because of their own surveillance operations. A greater number began following a tip-off from a member of the public. There were incidental informers, and they told the Gestapo that their neighbor, for example, they told the Gestapo that their neighbor did not give their radio up, or that there were people hiding on their property, somebody's property. Some informers made it their job to betray people and give information to the Gestapo for money. The main motives for informers were greed, jealousy, and revenge. Dessau is a town in Germany and was at the time recently freed by American soldiers. Thousands of people were displaced because of the actions of the Gestapo. The Gestapo arrested and transported people to work or concentration camps all over Europe. Cartier-Bresson took this photograph as he was working with the Americans on a film for the information service about the homecoming of French prisoners of war. Henri Cartier-Bresson recalled about this film that it was a film by prisoners about prisoners. Cartier-Bresson was a prisoner of war himself for 3 years and was emotional connected with the people and the situations in this photograph. This is the segment of the film for the information service when the photograph was taken. The film shows the moment that the informant explains that she was not trying to disappear with the flow of people that tried to return to their countries. During her speech, the witness that pointed her out as an informant gets angry and hits her in the face. While watching this segment, it becomes clear how talented he was in capturing the decisive moment. It has been said that Cartier-Bresson has a sixth sense to know when the decisive moment would happen. Cartier-Bresson would take multiple photographs, about 15 to 20, in one shoot. He would make a contact sheet. And then choose one, the one that showed that the decisive moment, the moment that tells the whole story, would be visible. Cartier-Bresson stated about this photograph: "The scene played itself out before my eyes as my camera was filming it. I had my camera in my hand and released the shutter. The scene was not staged. Oddly, this picture doesn't turn up in the film." While watching the film at a slower pace, it becomes obvious that he did take the photograph during the filming. Cartier-Bresson can capture a moment that we are unable to see when watching the film. The photograph shows that it can capture a moment in time that tells a story that the film was unable to do. Henri Cartier-Bresson is able, through his position, timing, and framing, to create a composition where he uses formal elements to draw the viewer right into the middle of the story. It is about the story and not the height of an action. He uses balance and the rules of thirds to decide about the framing. Cartier-Bresson uses the rules of thirds to lead our eye to the face of the informer. Her face is right at the crossing of the first two lines, right on the left top corner. The center, and this is where your eyes move first. An asymmetric but balanced composition is used. The center of the picture is created by the back of the left corner of the table, which is also important to guide our eyes to the background. On the right side, the sitting man creates weight and attention because of the larger areas with lighter values. This weight is balanced by the onlooker in the striped pajamas. Even though he seems to be farther away, his so-called weight is smaller. His so-called weight is even with the sitting man because he is farther removed from the center, and he creates more weight through the eye-catching patterns of his pajamas. The two women are accented by the dark value of their clothing in contrast with the lighter values of the background. Like Henri Cartier-Bresson, he uses line besides value and balance to guide our eyes through the image from one important element to the other. The table is the center and our eyes are directed to the corner of the table and the two women because of the direction of the lines of the sides of the table. The table has an almost neutral texture and value compared to the dark and light values of the people in the background. It attracts our eyes because it is a place to rest our eyes in contrast to the rest of the composition. The accuser or witness connects our eyes with the informer because of the lines she creates with her arms. It's parallel and connects with the lines of the table as well. The lines of her arms and herself create a triangle between the three important figures in this photograph. The triangle is the strongest shape and therefore creates this very effective story and connection between the three main figures. Emotional value of the story is created by the expression of the faces of the war victims, the informer, the accuser, and the judge. The sitting large judge envisions the objective law perfectly. He visualizes justice after so many wrongdoings and suffering. He is large and static, unmovable due to his sitting position and placement in the foreground. He wears glasses to shield and impersonate him even more. His perfect suit with crisp white board and perfect combed hair only strengthens this visualization of objective justice, which is in stark contrast with the horrific experiences of World War II that shone on the faces of all the other people in the picture and are even more accented by the striped pajamas that were worn during concentration camps. The clear and neutral shape and texture of the table in contrast with the people in the background give the undeniable process of justice an extra dimension, because it shows the papers and the passports on top of it as well. The picture was not a part of the movie about the return home of prisoners of war, but a part of a book Cartier-Bresson published. Henri Cartier-Bresson stated in an interview that he was staying at a farm in France after he was captured. He stayed there with others to hide from the Gestapo. He left the farm for a while to go to Paris, and when he came back, all his friends that stayed at the farm were betrayed by an informer and died in concentration camps. He stated that he created a book with photographs, including this one, that he dedicated to the people that died and fought in World War II. The intended audience are the people that lived the traumas of the war. This picture of justice done is a picture that will help them process all the awful memories they gained during the war. I believe that it also helped Cartier-Bresson because he experienced firsthand what it is to live in a concentration work camp and losing many friends because of the war and the actions of informants. This picture tells them the story that justice has been done to the people that betrayed them during the war. I believe the very strong emotion and this message of justice done made this picture famous.